Welcome to another episode of the Sipping and Tripping podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today, we're just going to retouch on yesterday's topic of the whole LA protest thing and just discuss, Trump a little bit. Because yesterday we had a little short episode, so I just wanted to add a little bit more flavor, a little bit more sauce on that topic. In the building today, we got Mr. D.W. Howler back again. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into it, you know. Before anything else, how's your weekend been?
So far, it's been all right. Been hot, raining, and everything. This morning
Well,
was
today,
terrible.
all right, so yesterday was hot. Today was a little hot, but like, isn't it raining right now? At least I think it is, anyways.
It
But
was
it's
it was
weird.
humid. I don't know.
But like for a week and a half, it's been raining, and I was like, what the fuck happened to the sun? Like it's just been raining. I fucking hate the rain. Everything is gloomy. It makes you tired for some reason. Like I fucking
Ugh.
hate the rain.
It gets
I hate
humid because it gets hot afterwards, and it's like, oh,
yeah, but I hate snow more than anything though. Like the snow, you
oh
open
yeah.
the door and it's hard to see. You got to squint. Like you need glasses and shit. Like
See,
I hate
snow's
the
fine.
snow.
I like snow
And it's
happening.
cold. And
Yeah,
it's fucking cold.
I like snow. Oh my god, if it could snow and it was warm outside, it'd be perfect. But I know that's not feasibly possible. But I'm fine with snow as it happens. Like if no one has to do nothing, and then I want it gone the next day, completely freaking
Right.
gone.
Yeah, I got you. No matter where I've been in the world or in my life, like kids love the snow. I don't know what it is about the snow. Kids just gravitate towards it. For me, it sucks. Especially one year when I was a gas attendant trying to and you can't wear the gloves because you got to count the money and your fingertips be
Mhm.
cold. So I bought gloves. I put like two of the thin gloves, cut the fingers out,
Yep.
and that sucks. Then your hands be numb, you be shaking, you drop the money, you got to pick the shit up. Now it's wet. Now you got to try to dry it all real quick because you fuck up the money. And they sound and say, "Well, what happened?" Like, especially if it ripped, you got to replace it. I was like, "Fuck that shit." And then
Yeah.
like I had a friend I was working with because he had got me the job there, and the little booths. He was in there with a
Mhm.
heater, with a little DVD player, trying to watch movies. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, you can come out there and get some of these cars. He's like, nah, I told you got that section. I got this section. So if the cars come over here, that's all you. I'm like, man, look.
Yeah, well, at least you didn't have the old credit card machines, so you had to like bring out a paper and then have them sign it and everything. And see, I worked at
Man,
an
that
old
was
Texaco. that was
Tex,
long, long.
Texaco shit. I haven't seen a Texaco since I was shit. I'm trying to think.
They're still
Um,
out there.
for real?
Oh yeah.
It's like years ago. I don't know if I was in Delaware or what, but I know when I used to be, I want to say Newark. It was either Newark or Delaware, and it was a Texaco, and it's just
They,
wild, man.
they were
It's
everywhere.
it, yeah, like it's crazy how so many things just change, and I don't, you know, with the kids and everything and work and all that, I don't really go out that much, but when I do, it seems like everywhere I go, it's new buildings and new gas stations, new restaurants, a whole new bunch of everything that's opening. I'm like, oh, when they have that, people are like, it's been like that for a couple months. I'm like, damn, I need to get out more.
Yeah, it's like me
Like
go. I
lately,
went back to my hometown. I
yeah,
every so often I go back to my hometown, and there was a couple of times where I went back and I was like, where did this building come from? I'm like, what is it?
yep,
I was like, and then there'll be a road that was never there, and I'm like, when did this happen? And I'm
yep.
just looking around the whole town just changing. I was like, I'm so happy I'm not here anymore. I'm like, it's
Yeah, that's how I felt last year when I went to what's it last year or a year before? I don't even remember. Like when I went to Delaware, I think it was no 2 years ago. I went and it's like everything's different. It looks cleaner and more like prestige than when I was
Mhm.
growing up there. Like it's different,
You
man.
grew up in Delaware?
No, so all right. So make a long story short, I was born in Newark, New Jersey, and about
Uh,
5 years old, I moved to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware,
okay,
and then from there, I moved to uh, Oak Ridge Parkway in Times River,
okay.
right, and then from there, I moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and then I came back to Jersey and been everywhere between like
You
Times
were
River,
everywhere.
Barnegat, Lacey, Seaside. Yeah, I was in those
Yeah.
areas, man. Try to get in where I fit in. That's all. Trying to make ends meet and relationships or whatever the case may be. I was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to move to Delaware. I like Delaware. And there's a reason for it. Everyone's like, why Delaware? I was like, for that exact reason. Because nobody ever thinks, oh, I'm going to go move to Delaware. I'm like, it's perfect because there ain't
Now,
no one there.
it's crazy. I used to live there, and it's like I visited it like maybe like 3, 4 times, and it's like it's cool to go visit. You know, I got family there, but like moving there, I could never. I could never.
There's, I mean, it's cheap. There's no taxes. It's like got
Yeah,
all the benefits of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, but none of the bullshit. And it's
yeah,
great. It's cheap. You could buy huge things of land, and look, it's like a
yeah.
PSA for Delaware right now.
Their nickname is Slower Lower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
I like to tell people, like, one of the best things is this, and I said this 2, 3 years ago. I said, next car I get, I'm gonna go to Delaware because you know how Jersey or anywhere else in the world you go, you gotta pay taxes on the car and shit. Well,
yeah,
in Delaware, whatever that price is what you pay. You don't pay no taxes, none of that shit.
yeah.
You know how like in Jersey, like they even tack on their fee for the license plates. It's only like $100 or some shit like that. But still,
Mhm.
Delaware, you don't do that shit. That shit comes for free.
Yeah, it's all baked into the price. I
Yeah,
know.
it's crazy. So that car says $8 grand is $8 grand. You come
Yep.
to Jersey, that should say $8 grand. You pay 11 grand
And
at the end of the day.
yeah, and then once you go to register, it's even more because there's fees on top of that, and then
Yeah,
it's nonsense.
it's crazy because I took the kids to me and the family went to Pittsburgh on
Nice.
Friday, and I didn't forget how long it takes. It's a 6 hour drive, but that drive, I was like, damn. Kind of looking at the clock, I'm like, fuck. But
Because you getting
even out, huh?
old. You getting old. You're like, ah.
But so my legs and shit be locking up. I am getting old. My legs be locking up. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this shit's insane, man. Like, but it is what it is, man. You take the kids to try to enjoy themselves. One of my pet peeves is you take them, and when they look like they uninterested or they look like it's the end of the world, I'm like, what the fuck? I did this for you.
Yeah, right. You're like, I hate this, and you're like, what? This was for you.
Yeah, and then at the end,
You
my one
ungrateful
son says,
son.
son says, Dad, that's a real good show. And I looked at him like this, like, bruh. This how he was looking. He was like this. This is his face. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm nudging him. Like, yo, wake up, come alive. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe because it was a wrestling promotion that he hasn't been following, right? So we're going to Raw and SmackDown in like a week. So he followed that a little bit more closely. So we'll see how he is, man.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
So yeah, it should be fine, man. So the one we went to, they pre-tape their shows. So Raw and SmackDown, they're live. So it's gonna be a
Mhm.
little bit more energized. So he
Yeah.
should be more in tune with that. So we shall see. So, you got to love the kids, got to try to keep a smile on their face, man. Keep the
Yep.
kids happy. And the goal is
They're
keep
never
the kids
happy.
happy. That,
They're
that, that
never.
you're happy, but
Yeah, right. They're never happy.
and especially the car ride, it's so antsy. And then every time you stop somewhere, they ask them for shit. Pack them food, pack
Oh
them,
yeah.
to eat, to save money, and then you go get fast food. You're an adult, right? Yeah. Oh, can I get some, bro? You
Yeah,
got
I
food
want
right
this.
there.
Can you get this? I want this snack. I want that drink. No, I just brought drinks. No, I don't want that drink. I want this one.
Right. And before we get into like talking about the topic or whatever, man, I just want to say this.
Oh, yeah.
The highway robbery. So for the kids, not for myself, I wanted them to be able to get an autograph, take a picture with like the wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
You know how much they said? First of all, we was in a line.
$50 to $100.
Yeah, we was in the line, and then I'm wait, and then I'm like, shit. So the line got like it decreased by half. So I'm like, all right, we almost did, but I'm getting restless. So I tell my kids secretly, I was trying to talk them out of it. I'm like, a lot of wrestlers are gone already, right? Because I thought they was gone until I found out they were still there, but they was just different sections.
Yeah.
So the one dude came by. He was a worker there. He was like, "Oh, who you got tickets for? Tickets?" I was like, "Tickets." The guy in front of me was like, "I don't have no tickets. You need tickets?" He said, "Yeah." He said, where you get the tickets from?" He's like, "For the concession stand." Right. So he was like, "How much is it?" "I don't know. You got to ask them." So he got a line. I got a line. He was in front of me. So he was like, yeah, here for the tickets." So they was like, "You want an autograph or the meeting? I mean, the picture?" So he said, "Well, how much is it?" So he asked for the picture. They was like $100. I said, $100 just to take a picture of something? Fuck that! I was like,
Yeah.
yep. Went to the kids. I'm like, sorry, we got to go. And they said, "Oh, I want a picture." I'm like, bro, you got $100?
Good. Tell you what, we would Photoshop that shit.
So you know, it was so
I'm
many people.
you $100 to tell everybody that you met him.
There was so many people that was paying. This is the thing, and so say it was like 10, 12 wrestlers there.
Yeah.
There was people that was like they got tickets to take pictures like 6 different wrestlers. So you're gonna pay $600 for that, and you pay money to go to the event, and you pay for parking.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? That's what I wanted to ask. What do you do for a living? Like insane.
Yeah. Where you getting all this money? You're about to get robbed out in the parking lot.
And the last thing I'm gonna say about that is, leaving, bro. My what you call it? My pride got hurt a little bit because they was like, "Oh, you leaving?" And I'm like, "Yeah." How come? $100, a little rich. And I'm looking at all the people that stayed in line. I'm like, damn, I got to be the one that's walking out. Like, for real, it hurt me until I got outside. And I was like, fuck. They probably looking at me like I'm broke. Like,
you like motherfucker right here walking out $100. Like, nah.
Yeah, we saved that money though. I tell you that we saved that money. But damn, there was so many people that was like, well, that's what we work for. And I'm saying like, fuck you.
No.
Like somebody said that on the way out, and I was, but like I said, I don't even think, bro, it's not worth it, bro. $100 for a picture?
Nope. Bullshit. No, fuck that.
So my question is, so what if I got the package or wanted the package where you get an autograph and a picture? How much is that going to cost?
Yep, an arm and a leg.
Like, oh, fuck. And then, like I said,
that's what it'll cost you.
Fuck that. That's crazy. But anyways,
yeah,
let's go ahead and talk about the bullshit that's thankfully
everywhere
has ended. Yeah. So we talk about the LA protests / riots that happened in LA. So I know
slash everywhere.
/ everywhere, right? So yeah. I know it started on the 6th, right?
Something like that.
On June. So from when I was doing the research and shit, they said, so it was early in the morning. It was like 9:15 ish in Pacific time, right? Yeah. So that's 3 hours difference. So that's like 3 in the morning our time.
Right.
Insane. So so they said it was an immigration raid, right? That was started at some kind of fashion district, and I don't know why they chose that, but I guess whatever, it had to start somewhere. And like there was like 2 other raids they said that occurred at like clothing stores and things of that nature. So many people that was arrested, a lot of people injured. I mean, it's crazy, and I get
lots of property damage, lots of looting, lots of stuff.
Yeah. So eventually, I did see there was a lot of looting. People were stealing whatever. So like, and that's the thing. When you had these protests and stuff, people when they started looting everything they wanted, they got like PS5s, Xbox, and a lot of times when they do the looting and shit, they get that shit just to resell it. Some people keep the shit, but they wind up selling it for more than was the value, or it's crazy. But a lot of people they say got hurt, injured, and I get it. Like, so it's like I'm not condoning like protests or riots, riots should I say, but from my ancestors and people that come before me, like in the Black community, like whenever we wanted to make a stand, that's exactly what they did, and a lot of changes happened through those the protests and the riots and stuff. So I get it. It takes something. It takes you to act like that on the grandest stage for change to happen. So I get it. But for me, when I look at it and see how many people got fucked up, hospitalized, for me, I'm like, I couldn't participate in no shit like that. But I understand the cause. I understand the reasoning. But I just couldn't be a participant, I don't think. You know what I'm saying?
Could you what reasoning do you think it was?
Well, because they feel like it's unfair. All right, so let me ask you this.
Unfair.
Huh?
What is unfair?
Well, I think like the Trump with the deportation and the whole immigration thing, the whole ICE thing, I think it's too far. My thing is this.
Hey, elaborate. What do you mean too far?
Oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
This has
Like,
been there for a long time.
so like, I, I think going above and beyond the way Trump did to try to get illegals out the country, I think it's too far. Like, what? Most of the people that got arrested, I can see if it's somebody that was like part of the cartel or they was being disruptive. I get that.
They are people from the cartel. That was the people he was targeting first.
No, hell no. It was innocent
Yeah.
bystanders. No, and his reasoning
No.
was he wanted all Hispanics and Mexicans out of the country, man.
No, he wanted everybody who came into this country illegally out. And he wanted to start with the people who were here with criminal backgrounds.
That's what he said. But okay, but most of the people that got arrested don't have a criminal past here or in Mexico or Honduras or El Salvador. None of these places they have a criminal record there or in the States. And he was rounding them up, right? He had ICE round them up. People that was documented, people that were legal, was getting deported. So that's not fair.
Who was legal that got deported?
A lot of people.
Who?
It was when they first started this shit. Because, like I said, I was manager at Carrabba's at the time. We had emails, we had documentation on all this shit when they were saying ICE is coming to people's employment, and if they come to Carrabba's, this is what we're supposed to do. And we got to ask for a warrant, yada yada yada. It was people in the detention center that was legal, and they still had like a month left, right, on their visa and stuff. They was getting deported. That's a known fact.
In a Wait, where were they? They were in a detention center?
Yes, in Newark.
Why were they in a detention center?
Because, all right, so a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Hispanics, they was getting things in the mail, and they got a report there so they could check out their paperwork and see if it's right.
Okay.
Now, I work with some of these people, so a couple of people was asking for me for my assistance, and I was like, well, you need a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what's allowed, what's not allowed, but like I read a lot of the paperwork from a lot of these people, and yeah, like they had to go to Newark to see if their paperwork was right. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them was like, fuck it. Some of them was saying they're going to move to a different state to start over because they was fearful.
Well, it doesn't matter where you move as long if it's in America, it won't matter.
Yeah, but it buys you time. I guess that's where they was going with that. But like a lot of people that was legal was getting deported. It got to a point where it was like they didn't give a fuck. They was deporting everybody, and that's a known fact. You know what I'm saying? But they were
deporting everybody who had a non-legal status, anybody who was overstaying visas, anybody who had work visas that had expired. They all had to go.
No, I get it. That's what they were saying. But then, like I said, they was deporting a lot of people that was still documented. You know what I'm saying?
But like whom? That's the thing. You say a lot of people, but I don't know of any other. Because if that's true, then that would be everywhere. That would be all over. We would have lists all over the news of people who were perfectly valid who got sent out.
But this one thing, I'm not saying everybody. I'm just it was different, multiple different states that had people that was deported when they was legal. They didn't give a fuck. Now some of them was granted to come back, and some of them they was like, oh, you gotta have a wait to the hearing and all this shit. Because what I was telling you about the people in Newark it was a detention hearing, or no, I don't even know if it would call it a detention hearing. I forgot the name of the place, but it was one of their little headquarters for ICE and shit. Mm-hmm. A lot of people had to go there. They were showing the paperwork. I'm like, damn. I'm like, that's crazy. How they find you? Like, how they? That's wild. But like I said, a lot of them they was legal. Like when I filed my taxes, put it this way, I filed.
How did you know they were legal?
Huh?
They said so. How did you know they were legal? They said so.
Okay, see, yeah. You want to be technical, yeah. Okay, yeah,
of course. And I can tell you the universe.
So you can
believe me because I said so.
No, the people that I know personally, sure, you can say that, but I'm talking about when you see it in the headlines in the newspaper, people that was legal, you can't fight that. But it's in the headlines. So where are they getting the information from?
Say that over again.
All right. So I was saying, like, you can say it about the people I know personally, but what about if it's in the news and they said people that were legal was getting deported? So if that's in the news, it's like not saying that everything in the news is right, but like where do they get the information from? If they put it on the news. And it's
but there's been little to no confirmed cases of that. They have a couple fringe ones that eventually came out that it wasn't true. And then
I get it. But at the end of the day, so I see you all for the deportation, immigration thing. That's my thing. If not being disruptive, what is the point?
the point is to give an example. I'll give you an example that could illustrate my point. Let's say you own a house. You worked really hard for it. You worked really hard for the house. You worked for years and years and years. You did everything and all that. And I come over and I just walk in your front door. You can't stop me. Don't stop me. Don't bother stopping me. The door is wide open anyway. So I'm just going to come in. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit on your couch and I'm going to go in your fridge. I'm going to take your food and I'm going to be all, make myself comfortable. And then when you're like, all right, well, you know what? So why are you here? And then I'm like, well, because I can. Why not? And then you're like, well, you got to go. And I'm like, no, I don't. Why? I have every right to be here. And then they're like, well, no, you don't. This is my place. You got to go.
You
okay over there?
Oh yeah. It was a big ass bug that was flying in here. You probably see me swatting at it. And I'm swatting. That motherfucker was brave as hell.
I thought you were practicing kung fu.
Like this. No, because I swatted with this arm and that shit started hurting. So now I'm trying to use this hand. That shit now is thriving because I try to.
The bug is winning.
He was winning. I plucked the shit out of him. He might be back for more. I don't know. It's shit big as fuck. I don't even know what it was. Big old bug like this big. Shit, he got to go. When I see him, I'm gonna stomp him the fuck out. But anyways, you can't compare somebody's house to America because Trump don't own America.
No. Americans are in America. Americans who are in America.
So if you look at this
is all our house.
You look at it like as a problem, right? This is one thing. Or Trump look at it as a problem. We had how many presidents before him? And it was never a disruption, never a problem. You know what I'm saying?
That's not true. That is not true. Not even close to true. Oh, what about Obama? He deported more people than all of the previous presidents. Did you know that? He had camps and everything. He was snatching people up left and right. He deported more people, more than Trump has done and could possibly do. Did you not know that?
Nah.
No, well,
I'm gonna have to check.
You're gonna have to look that up. He was called the Deporter in Chief. That is what his nickname was.
Man, are you a Trumper?
He was a Democrat.
Are you a Trumper?
Oh no, I think everyone's an idiot.
But it still sound like you are. Because
I believe in what I believe is right. That's it. That's just. I mean, I know that's contradictory of who's to say I'm right or not. But
so the way Trump is going about this whole immigration thing, you don't think he's taking it too far?
No. If you're here illegally, you're supposed to leave. You're not supposed to be here. You have to do it the right way. You do it the right way, you can come in, everything's fine. But you think that you're just gonna break through the front door and you're just gonna settle yourself in that you're fine.
So why is he only targeting Hispanics and stuff? There's other people that's not here.
He's targeting everyone, Asians, anybody who's here illegally. We just see most of the Hispanics because those are most of the ones that came.
Okay, and then you add on top of that what comes out of his mouth. He talk about Hispanics this, Hispanics this, Hispanics this. What comes out of his mouth. So if behind closed doors, if it's everybody, then he should make it equal. What comes out? He hires.
Before he was the president. He hired a shitload of Spanish people, and he has a lot of people who work for him that are like that.
So so that don't mean nothing. It's smoke and mirrors with Trump. It's smoke and mirrors. It's
mostly business. I think it's mostly business.
It is just like Diddy. He said, "I kid you not to talk about Diddy, but he said on more than one occasion." If he's not freed, he's going to look to pardon him. Right now, just think about why he would say that. Do you think he gives a fuck about Diddy? No, he probably looking at it like, and I'm gonna say probably because this is my own opinion. My opinion is this: everybody saying he racist, he hate Hispanics, and he hate blacks. So I think that he's saying
who hates him? Trump hates Trump. Trump hates. I don't think Trump's racist. I think he's a dick. I think he's a dick, and I think he's an asshole. And I think that he's very, very harsh to people's palates, basically. He's
So
like that asshole. You don't want to like him, like you really want to hate him, but he's doing things that are correct. It's hard.
nah, I see. That's what we beg. I beg to differ, man. Like when you degrade a whole like culture, that's been racist. Like when he called the one woman Pocahontas and stuff. Why he call her Pocahontas? Like if you think about like who Pocahontas was, what ethnicity, he made sure he, you know what I'm saying? Like he geared certain things towards certain races, and it's like get them out of here. When he sit there talking about what do black people got to lose, and he talk about some no education. He ain't words out his mouth. They don't have education, right? So you group in a whole like race. They don't have education. They don't have this. What do they have to lose? What, the first time he was running, he was like, "You might as well just vote for me because what do you got to lose? You ain't got no education. You ain't this. You gangbang. You in the streets. All this other shit." He was talking about like that's being racist. And all these charges that
Is
was
he
brought
being
up against
racist
him,
or is he being observational?
nah, he's been racist. Hey,
It's
listen,
my line.
we have to say that for another time, man. But that in my eyes, that man is racist. And then, like I said, all the
He's just
charges.
open with his thoughts. He doesn't filter what he says. I think he's just really open with his thoughts,
But
and
anybody else,
it's abrasive to everybody else because nobody wants to hear. Everyone wants him to be this, perfectly manicured man who will say the correct thing, but he doesn't give a shit.
First of all, you're supposed to represent the country. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
full representation of the country.
are you sure? Do you know what the country did? Do you know how we became the country? By spitting in the face of the people who sent us here. That is what we did. That is how we became the country.
Elaborate on that. We said it's census.
Yeah. What do you think? The Pilgrims and all the people who came here. We were sent here. We were told to come here to take over and spread out. And then what did we do? Oh, we started talking to each other, and then we were like, you know what? Fuck that king. We're not doing any of that shit. We're not going to do this. We're not going to be controlled. And then we basically spat in England's face, and we were like, yeah, we're going to be our own person. And then we defeated them. So he's the epitome of what America started out as.
Man,
we're dicks.
we
were jerks. We were full of ourselves, and we still are.
That's a whole nother discussion, man. Like yesterday when me and Marty we was talking, right? When we all this MAGA movement. So I'm gonna ask you this, and we're gonna leave that alone because that conversation can go on for days.
Oh yeah, I know. Of course.
When was America ever great?
Always.
In what sense? How was America great? Because this is your country that you live in. Is that what makes it great?
What makes it great, I think, because we have the ability to question whether or not it's great. I mean, nowadays, in these days, more countries are allowed to question themselves and all that. That's fine, and that's good. It's progressive. But if America didn't do our little experiment and didn't start growing into what we are right now, do you think that other countries would have allowed free speech and would have allowed all this other stuff? No, probably not. We are allowed to question. And and then that'll open up another discussion of we're not really punished for questioning stuff when I get it. Devil's advocate, yes, of course we are punished. We're free, so it's freedom of speech, not freedom from consequences. And people seem to think that freedom of speech also is freedom from consequences, which is just not even true.
So his thing is his whole campaign was make America great again.
Yeah.
So again,
basically, away from the Democrats. That's what he was trying to say. Is make America great again away from the Democrats.
Man, for Trump, like I said, in my heart, in my mind, he wanted to go back to slavery time. He is a smug little racist prick, and that's just my opinion. It's a lot of people's opinions, man. And speaking about Donald Trump, like this is, it's funny how the algorithm of things work, and so. The thing popped up on my news feed is Donald Trump becomes the first president ever not to be invited to the NAACP convention. And it's not just that. Like the mayor was against him in California. The governor was against him. You know what I'm trying to say? The senator got
California's a little unique. California, the people who are in California, the mayors and the people who run that place, they run to their own drum. They don't run to anybody else's drum. I don't know if we can make a good comparison using them as
Well,
the
well, like the governor,
pillar.
he was looking to sue Trump, right? And I didn't know you can sue the president until this whole
He can,
protest
and
thing
then
happened.
they found out he couldn't. He was
He
shut
can,
down. He was shut down real fast.
he can. It's like I said, it's politics.
Sure, everybody
sue
can
the
do
president.
everything. That's why America's great. You can do whatever you want. That doesn't mean you'll succeed, but you can
Yeah, well,
try.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, who you think is going to have a bigger backing? Who you think is going to get the more support? Like, because it's consequences. You go against the president and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but Trump is not a politician.
He's a
He
businessman. Oh
he
yeah.
was a businessman, because I think now trying to be a businessman, I don't think he's competent enough to be successful being a successful businessman. I just don't
Why
see it.
not? He's running the entire country like a business.
Not
Instead of
how.
just running his own
He's trying.
businesses.
He's trying to just so he's been put in a position of power that he's abusing. That's not being a businessman, because he's trying to run it as if it's a business, the country, but you can't. The country is not a business.
The country is very much a business. It is not
You
all
know,
feelings. It is not all that. You try to run the country, you're trying to run a business, you run anything with feelings, it will fail. It will fail immediately. You cannot win with feelings. There's no such thing.
Mm.
You can always win with logic and structure. And like a
Right.
business, there's winning and there's failing. You
Right.
fail when you structure it wrong, when you run it wrong. When you run it with feelings, it will fail.
Well, I'm just saying, like just think about it. Like when you think about a president, man, you think about like, you got the country behind you. He ain't got the country behind him, and a lot of these people that voted for him want him impeached. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about. It's like, a lot of people has been calling for him to get impeached. Like the things he's doing, the things that come out of
The
his
people
mouth.
who voted for him are not the people calling for impeachment. The people who are
No,
against him are calling for it, which he hasn't done a single thing so far.
no, maybe
That
the majority of them, but it's on record. It's been documented that a lot of people that voted for him want him impeached. I forgot what state it
no,
was. It was one. It was It was a yes. A red state. His name was like, a lot of them was, but they were on the side to say he should be impeached. It's a lot of people in town. Like, even when we was in Pittsburgh on Friday, a lot of people say I voted for him. But good God, like, what is he doing? And I hear this from a lot of people. I don't
sure,
ask
people who don't know what's going on.
But this is the thing. They was like, I voted for him, but, or you hear it on the news, or you go to YouTube and try to catch up on like current events, and you hear a lot of people like, I voted for him, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. And then speaking about this whole potentially.
He said it was going to be like this. He said it over and over and over again. It would be like this.
You're right. But see, the thing is, a lot of people. So this thing, a lot of people, they watched The Apprentice and shit like that, and a lot of people they was on Trump's side just based off of him having that reality TV show and being the businessman, and they wasn't looking at it like, wow, he's going to be in control of the country. They weren't looking at it.
They seen him being cutthroat his entire career.
I get it.
And they knew he was cutthroat.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think a lot of people focus on that. I think a lot of people was like, I'm gonna vote for him because I like Donald Trump, not for what he may or may not do.
But why would they like him? What is about him that is specifically likable?
Well,
and
the
majority of the entire country actually vote for him in the popular, and he won the electoral. He won with pretty much a landslide of this presidency. So therefore, the majority of people liked him. So why is he likable?
Majority of the time he was losing. It's just, it was a switch at some point. He was losing.
No, he won majority of each.
You looking at the loans. I'm saying for most of this, because it's months. He was losing. The numbers was good. The numbers was he was losing. Even when they started it, he was losing when he was saying, "Oh, he's gonna sue." Right? We talk about when we was like the day before he won. When you see the numbers, he was losing. It was like a landslide. He was like, "This is rigged." Da, da, da. But then I wanted to fall asleep, and I woke up in the morning. I said, "What the fuck happened?" Because
I watched it. It kept going. No, it kept going up and up and up. I watched it. It just kept going up. And there were some other states that were like, all right, well, they were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And that, like, they tried to play in multiple previous presidencies where there was, they were like, we're gonna wait forever to count all these votes because we want to do every little meticulous vote. And then all of a sudden they find a whole shitload of votes, and it just so happens to be for the opposite person. But that's what he was like, no, we already counted most of it. This was it. And then he won both sides. So he overwhelmingly won.
Okay, first of all, let me say something. All right, so it's funny you say that, right? And a lot of people they try to jump on the Trump bandwagon. Everybody say he's gonna beat Biden. He lost. He lost. And I had a party. I threw a fucking party. Fuck him. And this is the thing. You know, Biden was sick. Clearly, like, you know, I still wanted anybody but him in it. And then when Kamala, yes, I was voting for Kamala. But see, and like I said, whether you want to believe it or not, she was winning for a bit of time, and then she just fucked up. And then, like I said, the day that they announced that he won, they was asking a lot of people, Democrats and Republicans, majority of the Democrats was like, well, she said this, and she said this, and we was like, fuck that. There's a lot of things she. So one of the biggest things they said she went wrong was when she focused her whole campaign on like racism and there was something else that she focused too much on, and then it was like, you know, when she was asking the questions, you know, what they call it when they go back and forth,
debates,
the debates and shit. Now neither one of them did a good job answering the questions, but she kept saying the same thing no matter what the question was. She said the same thing. Now on the other hand, like
politicians usually do, they'll answer a question with not an answer. That is a politician answer. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, no. So it's like I said, the whole thing is weird. The whole fucking thing is weird. But you know, I also think that it was. I don't want to. I'm not gonna say rigged. I do think it was unfair. You know, I think if you
I think you're thinking the word unbalanced, not rigged, unbalanced.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say the word rigged, but like, you know how it was. In the beginning, it was Biden and Trump, and then he dropped out, and then she had a short amount of time to get her shit together. Now, this is the thing. Now, what they were saying was, any vice president, they know to be ready at all times. And she wasn't ready. She openly said it. She's like, you know, and even after she lost, she said, well, when you're the vice president, you don't wait around like, oh, something might happen to the president, right? So she had that mindset, and that's one of her reasons why she fucked up. Like, you could tell in the beginning she was not ready. She was just like, she's like a deer in headlights. And then she started to settle in, but at that point it was too late. When she started to settle in, it was too late.
The entire presidency, she was like that.
Yeah, but see, she was so, and they were saying, well, every vice president know to be on call. That any given moment you might get that call. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be ready, and she just wasn't. And then she just focused heavily on the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? Like
her team just kept on making really, really old bad decisions, and then it just rubbed everybody the wrong way. And then they just started throwing a shitload of money at people, thinking that, all right, if we start paying everybody, maybe they'll vote, which is illegal to do. But so then, and it still didn't work, and they were like, wow, she's just so unlikable that nothing we do is making it work. And it was whatever. I mean, I felt more, I'll be honest, at the end of where Biden was going through, I actually got a point where everyone was like, oh, fuck Biden, whatever, he's a piece of shit. And there was a point where I was just like, you know what, actually, I kind of feel bad. I think there's something wrong, and I think everyone piling on, and I think he's just like, something's wrong. And you know, saying, oh, fuck him is actually like, it's like yelling at somebody who's disabled. You just don't do that. You know, it's just not right.
Don't he have cancer or some shit like that?
I think it's dementia.
I think so. When he went to the hospital last, I forgot what they say he had.
Yeah, he had something else too.
But see, you know, so clearly we were seeing that. Like, I think they
said they lied the whole freaking time. They're like, he's perfectly fine, and I'm like, yo, really? We're watching him in real time.
But you gotta think. You always gotta try to protect the image of the president and shit. And this is the thing. With his age,
yeah, you have to protect the image of a president, unless it's Trump, and then what? And then attack, right?
Oh my God, you love you some Trump. I see it.
See?
Trump runs through your
No,
your
I'm
veins.
just
I
saying.
see it.
I'm just saying. I don't like it when people are attacked for absolutely no reason. And
There's,
I know there's a
there's
lot of
plenty
people
of
want to
reason.
say there's reasons. I know there's plenty of
It's,
people want to say there's reasons, but those are the people who are saying that based out of emotion,
no,
emotion reasons. That you'll
no.
have the actual paperwork. You don't understand the reason why
Okay,
he may have done certain things
no,
or
because
reacted a certain way.
he's a racist. That's why.
So you think so he's a racist, so therefore everything he does forever is invalid. So just because he's a racist, everything is to
I'm,
be
I'm
gone
not. I'm
against.
not. I'm not gonna say everything he do. No, because
All
for
right.
instance, let me say. Okay, you agree with him giving pardons to all those Klan members and white supremacists? You okay with
So
that?
I
Let me tell you
think,
something.
are you talking about
This
January
shit.
6th?
You know what they stand for is considered a hate crime. You understand that, right? But you pardon them.
So with that, are you talking about January 6th, or are you just talking about something else?
Well, he pardoned all them people. Yes,
All right.
all them people from that
So
stormed the Capitol and all this shit.
with that, what should have happened would have been to assess each one instead of a blanket pardon. Do you think that everyone should have been pardoned at the end of Biden's presidency? Think Hunter Biden and Fauci and everyone should have been doing that after shutting everyone down, destroying companies and
Um,
businesses? You think that was
hold
okay?
on. Wait. So the Biden thing, I think it's more justified than what Trump did. Right. The
It's
only thing I
more
don't think is the only thing I did not agree with as far as pardons was his son.
okay.
And I feel like because first of all, if say we was dealing with the court of law, that would be called what's it called? Conflict of interest. I just feel like you can't how you a president and you want to pardon your son for his wrongdoings. I just think that's insane. I don't think that should be
What
allowed.
about the pardons that he did that no one was actually convicted of anything and there was actually no charges brought against people, but he pardoned them preemptively? What about that? Because you can only pardon people who have already been through the justice system, people who have been convicted of something, people who have been accused of something. But
But
he pardoned people before they were even accused. Did you
nah,
know
that
that?
don't make that doesn't
He
make
did that.
sense.
But he did that.
Because to get a pardon, they have to have charges brought against them.
That's
Because
right.
otherwise, it will not be a pardon.
But Biden pardoned people before charges were even filed. Did you know that?
I'm gonna say
So
no,
you're
and
saying,
I don't agree with that, and I'm gonna have to check it out because
right.
I don't just hear something and it's but oh well, okay, that's factual. I always like to do my own homework. Like I said, what you said by definition makes no sense. You
I know
can't
you
throw around you
can't
can't throw
pardon
the word
somebody before they're charged with something. I know that. That's right.
because
That's actually correct.
it
But he
wouldn't
did
be a
it.
pardon.
But
It
he
wouldn't
did
be a
it.
pardon.
But he
It
did
wouldn't be
it.
a pardon though. If you would define the word pardon, if somebody's been charged and
You
incarcerated,
a pardon is absolving of the crime, so that they become automatically innocent of it, and no charges can be brought up against them afterwards.
correct. So you said the crime. So you, in order for you be have a crime or be labeled a criminal, charges had to be brought against you.
That's right.
Okay. So you said no charges was brought against them. That's impossible. It would not be considered a pardon then.
So I have a question. That's what I'm trying to point that out. Biden pardoned people who didn't even have charges against them before he
So
left. How is that
so
better?
you can't use the word pardon then.
Well, you look it up online. We're not. I'm not debating what is possible. I'm telling you what happened. It
Right.
happened. So therefore, how are you going to tell me that is better than than Trump pardoning people who have been committed of certain
Correct.
crimes? So
Clamming.
content.
Clamming. Wait, hold on. What do they stand for? That's a hate crime. White supremacy. Those are criminal acts, and
Sure.
there's no excuse for that bullshit.
Well, white
There's no excuse for that.
supremacy. White supremacy isn't a criminal act. The actions that they do is considered a criminal act. There is a possibility that even though they're part of a group, does not necessarily condemn them to be a criminal. You could be part of a gang and never do anything, and you're still innocent.
when it comes to white supremacy, to be a white supremacist, it's a crime in itself. If you claim that,
What crime is that? What crime is being white supremacy? What crime is that?
It's part of being a part of a hate. It's a hate group.
You mean it's a belief? White supremacy is a belief, and it is not. And America, you're allowed to believe whatever you want.
Man, no.
And even though you don't like it, that doesn't make it a crime.
Okay, for instance, down south, you cannot ride around with a Confederate flag. If you see it, right? They'll some places they'll give you a warning, but then in most places down south, like with the Confederate flag, you get arrested. It's considered a crime.
Where?
The Confederate flag. What do you mean? Where? First of all, I'm just look it up. It's a crime. You can't ride around with no hood and not like that. You ride around with a hood, you getting arrested. Can't be no Klan member and think that, oh yeah, it's okay.
Controversy and offense. While flying the Confederate flag is not illegal, it is important to be aware that it is deeply offensive. It is not illegal. If people are getting arrested for flying a Confederate flag, then they have a big lawsuit on their hands. No, it is not a crime to fly the Confederate flag in the United States. It is offensive, and it can be considered potentially hate speech, but it's all in the way it's done.
I've seen multiple people get arrested just for having it.
Sure, they may also be flying it. They may be using it as a device to commit some sort of, hate speech. But just simply having it or flying it, no, not a crime.
Okay, so okay, like right here in South Carolina, it's prohibited.
Not illegal. Right?
Okay, they say you can't get charges though, but it says prohibited, so it didn't say illegal. It didn't say that, but it says prohibited, and charges can be brought against you.
Prohibited where? For what?
What do you mean? It says in South Carolina, let me say, flown or displayed or on any public building, whether owned by the state or political subdivision, including a school district, unless it's a museum.
Because it's a state property. You can't be flying a Confederate flag on a state property because the state property has to display the United States flag. Confederate flag is an old United States flag that is defunct, but it cannot be used to fly it. Just like it really shouldn't be flying any other flag. And the American flag is supposed to be the very top flag. There should be 0 flags above the American flag. Like if the LGBTQ flag's above it, that's illegal. That you can't do that. It's not the same illegal as killing someone.
So right here it says some cities, right, have it's part of their ordinance where you can't have it.
This is not a crime.
You can't. But it said you cannot fly or display even on private property. It says.
Ordinances are not crimes. That's a civil matter. That's totally different. You can get a fine for it, but it's not a crime.
Okay, if you want, you've been technical, but yes, what I'm saying is
that's what America is. We have to be technical. No feelings. There's no feelings in this.
Okay, it's consequences that come from that.
Exactly. You have the freedom of speech, not freedom from consequences. You can fly the flag, absolutely, but there is an ordinance that you will get a fine for doing that, but it is also not a crime.
I got you. But okay. I was gonna go into another thing, but yeah, we're gonna leave that one alone.
Okay. So anyways, going back to our original shit.
so how do you feel about this Trump potentially siding with Israel to go to war against Iran? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if it's siding. I think I haven't researched enough about it, but for my first initial assessment, and obviously I'm not a professional or anything like this, I'm just a regular idiot. So I think the idea was Iran was saying, oh, well, you know what? We're going to fuck up the other place. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to use nuclear weapons to do it. And everyone's like, no, you're not allowed to have nuclear weapons. Don't do it. And then they kept on saying, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. You can't stop us. And they got real big in their britches. And then they were like, we're going to do it. We're going to start enriching uranium and we're going to start doing all this shit. And then all of a sudden, Trump's like, you know what? You want to keep on making these threats? We're just going to take out your ability to even make it. And then he did.
So I somewhat looked into that, right?
Yeah, I know.
So
we're both probably at the same level.
So it had nothing to do with the U.S. or anything. It's Trump likes control. He likes the power. This was Iran and Israel, right? And Trump, he was like, oh, he made at one comment he made was like, they've always been an ally. They had our backs, so it's time we have their backs, right? I heard him say that. Like on YouTube, you can listen to it. You put in Donald Trump speeches about Iran. You hear shit like that. So he said they always had our back, so it's time to return the favor. And then he was asked about, are we going to war? And this was either a couple days ago or last week. I got to check. He said, I'll make a decision on whether we're going to go to war in 2 weeks. That's what he said. So, I know a lot of people have been shooken up about that because I was like,
we're not going anywhere. I'm
not saying we are, but the fact that he said, I'll come to a final decision in 2 weeks, I'm like, damn, this is crazy.
That's the thing is that he uses the media as a platform. And he knows that other countries watch it because all the media grabs everything he says and then sends it all over the world. So he likes to use that because he knows he's not stupid. He knows that if people are going to send it all over the place. So if anybody in Iran gets to see it, they're going to be like, oh, you know what?
No, that's the thing. They see it. They see it. The one guy, I forgot his title.
Of course they did, yeah.
The one guy, I was just looking at it yesterday, right, on YouTube. Because I say Iran's response to Trump and stuff, and it was like, if America sides with Israel,
right,
it's going to be a bloodbath for Americans. And I was like, this is crazy. Even when I went and got my haircut last, it was they had it in the barbershop, I was playing this shit, and it was like, this guy's crazy because the war, the conflict they have was between Iran and Israel has nothing to do with us, right? To sit there and say, oh yeah, we'll potentially go to war. It's like,
well, no, that's not just them. No, you don't know. They despise us. They've called our death of America hundreds of thousands of times. They want to destroy America. It's not just through Israel. They want America dead too, and they've said it for decades. They're like, no, death to America. That's what they say. That's what they say.
Yeah, but maybe then. But I'm talking about for the longest time. They recently, like I said, when they first was talking about this whole Trump thing, they said on numerous occasions, we don't have no problems with America.
Right? That is not even close to true. You ever seen all the different things? They hated America all along, forever.
No,
even now.
They did. All right, I'm just saying. And we talk about the last couple of years. They said we don't have no problems in America, but we will. We will.
Yeah. You mean they don't want problems with America because maybe, I don't think people do.
But it's the thing. It's always a scary thing when you talk about some war. So to think about potentially going to war. What if? Let me ask you this: what if Trump said, "Yeah, it's going to be World War III"? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, it can't be World War III because Iran is not the war. It is not the world. So,
okay. Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like,
it would be a war, just like we've had in the whole history of all of America. But if it was, you really think they'd have a chance? If they were serious?
That's not what I'm asking. What I'm saying is, if he said that's what we're doing, I said, what are your thoughts on his decision making to even engage in it or to entertain it?
He won't. He won't even. He wants no wars because he wants to keep his promises. Because if he starts breaking promises, everybody's going to jump on his back. Every Democrat and every person who hates him, they're going to be like, "Oh, see, he's a fucking liar. He's a liar. He said no new wars, and all of a sudden, oh, now we have a new war. Look at him. He's a fucking liar." So he's going to do everything he possibly can to stay out of any type of war. He's not going to declare any war. Plus, he can't declare war anyway. The Congress has to declare it. So, So he's going to do everything he's doing to make peace, which is why he bombed the uranium plants. So that way, Iran can't, keep on getting big for their britches and be like, "Well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it." And then we take away their bargaining. We take away their biggest hammer. And then we're like, "Okay, now you two are equal. Now talk it out."
Right.
It's like if somebody brings a gun to a knife fight. All right, well, you take bring a gun to a fist fight. Okay, well, we basically just took their gun away. Now you both got fists. Go ahead, figure it out. That's pretty much what he just did.
Yeah, I got you, man. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I always said I wouldn't even touch
The
anything
theater
that's
of it,
political.
the theater of it is absolutely fucking crazy. And yes,
Right.
it is like the worst reality show ever. And I understand how it looks. I'm not dumb to it. But it looks insane. Like we go from the riots, we go from the deportations to the, bombing this and doing that and all that. And we're all over the place. He's everywhere. And
Yeah.
the deportation things, I got it. It was a lot of people are going based upon their feelings, which again, I already told you, we can't run everything on feelings. Yes, the feelings can be in consideration, but we run everything on feelings, we're not going to get anywhere.
Right. Before we talk about racism or prejudice, right? I don't know how much you know about him, but what are your thoughts on JD Vance, which is the vice president?
Oh, I don't know much about him, but I think from what I have learned, that's literally my feeling is that I don't know him well enough to know whether or not he's okay or whether he's a piece of shit. I
Yeah.
really honestly don't know. I've heard both arguments that he's fine, but then he's also a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I actually don't know enough.
So okay, so the regular ordinary people, I want to say this one thing about him, right? Because I don't know too much about him, but I know he's a piece of shit. A lot of stuff come out of his
so,
mouth.
so
But
you made a decision about him based upon minimal information. Got it. Keep going.
so when he was running for when Trump was doing his campaign, every
Yeah.
time he brought JD Vance along, I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? I hate this motherfucker." Like, why? A lot of stuff that comes out of his mouth. If the ordinary person said, would be arrested for hate crime. For instance, like the senator of California or
Oh,
California, LA,
California.
whatever. Right? His name was what's his name? His name was Alex Padillo or some shit like that.
I have no
And
idea.
JD Vance, right? When because the senator got arrested for asking a
Yeah.
fucking simple ass question. He said, "I got a question," and they arrested him, right? And his thing was, he's like, "Wow, if they arrest a senator and treat the senator like a
Oh,
piece
you're
of
talking
dog
about
shit."
recently?
Yes,
Alex Padilla? The
yes.
the guy who burst into a closed room and then was demanding some sort of urgent in the middle
He
or
said he has a
interrupting
question.
thing,
He said he had a question.
but he didn't.
He did have a question, but he got slammed to the
It,
concrete and
yeah,
he got arrested.
because it wasn't a question type uh, uh, press meeting that they were having.
No, this isn't. No. So what happened was, it's like somebody had got arrested and whatever, and they was told to evacuate, to leave, whatever. So he went up whatever steps they said to whatever building, and he said he had a question. He was addressing everybody, and they slammed him and they arrested him. And
Yeah, he
so
was somewhere else. He was down the
he got
hall. He was down the at his own press meeting, and then when he was done with his, there was another press meeting happening. He decided to walk over there, and then just
but,
like thought he could just take over by asking a question randomly.
but that's all he says. I have a question. And he got slammed, thrown to the ground,
Yeah,
arrested. And when he got released,
and that don't mean
he
that
made it.
everybody knows who the hell he is just because he thinks everyone does.
No, they knew who he was. He's a
No,
senator.
yeah, sure. Do you know all the senators? Who's
He
our
got released.
senator?
He got, huh?
Who is our senator?
I'm not talking about me, the ordinary, because I don't know who I'm not a
Yeah,
politician.
that's okay. A lot of people don't know what the senators are. They're just random people, and they're elected. They roll over.
These people know who he was.
No, maybe.
No, because the Trump administration, they said
Even
they know who he was. They said,
even
what
if
does that
they
mean?
did, even if they did, he's not above anybody. He's a regular
Right.
person. Just because he's
I
a
was just,
senator doesn't make him
I was just
above
about to say that.
anything.
That's what the Trump administration said. I was just about to say that,
Right.
but you beat me to it.
Okay.
They was like, we know who he was, but who are you? It was told, everybody was told to evacuate. The protests are going along. What they say, that don't make him special because he's a senator or some shit like that. So when he got released, he says, wow, this is how they treat a senator. I can only imagine what they was doing when they was running in the Home Depots and these restaurants and these nursing homes. And he's like, if they slam me to the ground like that, I can only imagine what they was doing to these people when they was arresting them from their workplace. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. So JD Vance, he also knew who he was. And JD goes, he didn't call him by his name, which is being racist. He called him Jose, whatever his last name, Padilla or whatever. Jose, he called him Jose. This Jose guy, after he said, "Yeah, we know who he is," and then you didn't call him by his name. He said Jose is his real name. That's some Donald Trump language. Because why? He's Spanish. You want to give him a Spanish last name or whatever the case may be? Like, come on, man. Like that's crazy. That's what I mean. That's crazy. If we do that, then we get arrested. Like, you can't do that, man.
I don't know. I mean, I've called people the wrong name and I didn't get arrested.
No, I'm saying, like,
I can call you whatever you want.
If somebody say, "Oh, Charles," and you like, "Okay, Hector," like this is
it's annoying but not illegal.
But you get arrested for it. Like if see, it's one of those fine lines. So like they
got to deem it the wrong name.
They have to deem it. No, that's what I'm saying. They have to deem it to be intentional. And what's the word they use? I forgot. It's like I said, it's a gray area. Like I'm not saying everybody that do that is going to just get hauled off and get arrested, but it's like what they say. It's up to the discretion of the officer how they assess the situation. If they deem it to be excessive, like you call them out their name intentionally, what's the word I want to use? For degrading purposes and stuff, then yeah, you can get arrested. So it's one of those gray areas when you say a cop, it's under a cop's discretion. Because a cop can just be like, I ain't seen no wrong with him. Maybe he didn't know the name. So it's a gray area when you give somebody discretion. You know,
I mean, saying somebody the wrong name, also saying some other things the wrong thing is not a crime, and that's not a discretion thing. It's just annoying. It's not illegal to be annoying.
No, but that's what I say. If you look it up, they say if it's deemed to be excessive and offensive, and like you intentionally trying to come off that way, you can get arrested for it. You can.
So then I have a question. So everybody keeps on calling Trump Hitler. So does that mean everybody who does that gets arrested?
You can. That's what I'm saying. It's one of those things. It's like some people look at it like, oh, if you give me charges, you're a dick. And a lot of people look at it like, is it possible? Yeah. Is it possible? Is it possible? Yes. I mean, you know,
it's possible. If somebody wants to be a butthurt loser and to make up some fucking thing to arrest somebody, sure, of course it's possible. But the charges would never stick. Ever.
Now we dive into something different when you say, well, the charges stick. I don't know. When I was going to school, I know a lot of people was getting arrested from school for them saying, oh, it was a hate crime, for things of that nature. Things, you know what I'm saying? Those were typical things I was just talking about. I've seen it plenty of times. Now, did it stick? That's a different story. I'm just saying you can get arrested. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to stick. Because I think for it to stick, it's
you can get arrested for just breathing. I mean, you don't need any reasons to get arrested. Of course, that's called authoritarianism, and that means that you could just get arrested for just waking up in the morning. Sure, you could be arrested for anything. It doesn't matter. But that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that it's going to stick. It doesn't mean that it's going to go through.
Yeah, and I never said it was. I was just saying.
I mean, you don't just see people getting snatched up all over the place for saying the wrong fucking name. So, if that's true, then there'd be a lot of people in fucking prison calling people Nazis and shit like that.
Yeah, I got you. Speaking about Nazis, isn't a swastika banned?
No, it could be considered a hate speech.
So so you like getting branded or putting graffiti of a swastika. That's not.
Well, yeah, that is because you're graffitiing. You're defacing someone else's property. You could draw a dick on someone, and that's also going to be the same crime that you're talking about a swastika.
You might be on a list for that one.
But you draw a swastika, you're on two different lists. You're on the hate crime list, and then you're on the defacing list. Now, if you just draw a smile face on the front of some synagogue or whatever, okay, you're only on one list. You draw something else on there, okay, you're on two lists now. So,
right. Oh, speaking of which, I didn't want to leave this out. You know, when the National Guards and all this and the police and stuff, when they was like, if you put your hands on me,
are you talking about Florida?
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. If you do this, you're gonna die. That's a blatant threat. That's a terroristic threat. And I don't give a fuck if you're National Guard.
It's a promise. It's a promise. It's not a threat. It's a promise.
No. Okay. So with officer of the law, right? They're trained to do what? They're not trained to shoot to kill. They're trained to shoot the wound, shoot the injured, things of that nature. So
That is not true. No, they're trained to de-escalate, and when that's not usually, then it is lethal force.
hey, it's not but it's not the kill. It's the wound or injured.
Lethal means dead.
That's the law.
Lethal means dead.
Man,
lethal force.
You get your computer, look it up.
I know what lethal force means. I don't have to look it up.
I ain't told that. I'm told when they get sworn in as an officer of the law, they're not to kill.
They are to uphold the law.
Wound, shoot the injury. Shoot the injured. Now, yes.
They are authorized to use lethal force. I don't have to look it up.
Oh man, that's terrible. They cannot. That's why these cops are getting arrested all the time. Because your job is to first, like you said, de-escalate. Then it's to shoot to wound, shoot the injured, not shoot to kill. Now, in certain situations may call for it to be like that. Like, say for instance, it's hostages in a bank or some shit like that. Now,
if that were true, if what you're saying is true, then why do they have bullets? Why wouldn't they just have pepper balls all the time? Why would they have guns at all? Why wouldn't they just have paintballs that could shoot rubber bullets at people? Then that's non-lethal. That would just injure them. That would just hurt them and then put them down. If they have guns for a reason, they have shotguns in their cruiser. They have automatic rifles in their cruiser. That's not to wound somebody. No, that's to kill them dead.
Man, certain situations may call for that.
Of course. But it is a show of force. It is to be like, all right, well, no normal citizen is going to come around and threaten the police department. The police department's going to be the winner, always. And yeah, they'll make threats. Of course, they'll make promises of you fuck around, you're going to find out. And a lot of people did.
So it says police are trained to use deadly force to stop a threat, not to kill. Right? It says the goal is to neutralize the threat and aiming for center mass is, and in parentheses, it's the torso. It's standard practices, right?
What is in your center mast?
I said in parentheses, it says torso.
Yeah, what's there?
The torso is not. No, it's not the heart. Because the heart's over here. It's not the torso.
Your heart is your torso. Your heart is in your torso. Oh yeah.
Man, you just ignore what came before that. It says. Police are trained to use deadly force to stop a threat, right? Not to kill. So the goal is to neutralize the threat, right? And aiming for the center mass, in parentheses, is the torso.
So neutral. Do you understand? You're reading. You're understanding it a different way from what it's being read. So neutralize the threat. Do you know what levels of neutralization there is? Death is a neutralization.
If it's this is why they have like body cams and things of that nature, and other officers on scene, because you know officers not to go rogue and be by themselves. They're supposed to, even if you know it's a known fucking threat, you're supposed to wait for backup, right? So it's not a hearsay.
Well, they're waiting for backup so that they have force. Because a single officer can be overwhelmed. Two officers are less likely.
So it says shoot to stop, shoot the wound, not shoot to kill. Police are trained to use minimum force necessary to stop a threat. And deadly force is authorized when a suspect poses immediate danger, such as death, to the police officer or officer of law. That's what it says. So why don't they have guns? Because some situations may call for that. That's what I was saying. But they're trained, right? The oath they take is to shoot the wound, shoot to stop, not shoot to kill.
But shooting to kill is one of the options.
If the person poses what they said, imminent danger or threat to the officer's life.
Yeah, and others' life. The officer and others.
Well, it didn't say others, but I was just reading what it says.
It's in there.
And then it says, a lot of officers try to combat that, saying that it's difficult to hit.
Well, not just that. So you also have the problem. Well, it is because people move around a lot. So, but the other problem is officers that are bad officers. Good officers, there are way more good officers than there are bad officers. And I know if you asked certain communities, you would probably get a different answer. But there are a lot of good officers, and yes, they will do everything they possibly can not to harm the person. But then there are bad officers who are like, you know what? I'm gonna go straight to 100. And then those are the ones that you see in the news. Those are the ones you see plastered everywhere. Of course,
Right.
and then everyone starts to think, well, that's everywhere. No, that's just the one you saw. It's just you saw it 100 times. You didn't see the 5,000 other ones where they were helping somebody and where they rescued a baby or where they did this or they talked somebody down. You don't see those. You don't see the hero
Right.
stories. You see all
Right.
the horrible ones and the ones where the officer gunned down some kid, because he was in the wrong place. Or wrong. You don't see the wrong ones. And it
Right.
sucks. It's optics. It's optics. Everything is optics.
I got you, man.
It's
I just think this whole thing is a mess, and it's crazy. I always said I would never touch a politics,
political.
but here
Yeah.
but here I am, somewhat talking about it.
Well, this isn't
I don't
just
dive too
politics.
much of
This is life stuff. This is everyday things.
yeah. I mean, you're right. You're right. I mean, but I'm
But
talking about like the president and stuff. I was never big on even voting or anything like that till let's see. I voted for Clinton back in the day. Hillary. I would have voted for Hillary.
would you? Oh, wait. So wait. If you would have voted for Hillary, did you know that there was a recording out there of her threatening Iran also saying that we would come that if Hillary got president, she would come in and she would attack.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Okay,
It's
yes.
the
Well, this
same thing that
this is the
Trump
thing. When
just
I
did.
when I said
But
I would
she's
have voted
evil.
for her. When I said I would have voted for her, it was solely because I love Bill Clinton. Every Black American loved Bill Clinton, and I wasn't doing the
Why?
research. Listen. I wasn't doing the
Why?
research. I wasn't listening to her speeches and things of that nature.
Oh,
And then
okay.
when she like and then she withdrew or whatever, and then I started to go back and I listened to shit. I'm like, damn, if I would have voted for her, people would have crucified me. Because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was never into politics, and I was off the Clinton name. That's why I was. Oh yeah,
So
Hillary. Oh yeah.
feelings.
Because look, because look, in my mind, this is the way I was looking at it. When everybody was saying, "Oh, why would you vote for Hillary?" Blah blah blah. A lot of people say it because she's a woman. My thing was this: I'm like, you think if she won, you think she's gonna call the shots? No, because Bill is not. He got impeached or
Are you out
whatever.
of your mind? You know
Uh,
that Bill wasn't calling the shots when he was the president. She was.
oh hell no, hell
She
no.
totally was.
Hell no. And as a matter of fact, that's what I was about to say. If she had won the whole thing, he would have been pulling the strings. That's what I was telling people. And that's what I feel. You thought she was pulling the strings. Stop it. Bill Clinton,
She
man,
was
Bill
running
Clinton was that dude.
everything. She was
Bill
running all
Clinton's
of
like, nah,
it.
hell no. Hell no. You know what? And not to get on topic or whatever, or not that it's a topic at this point, but I also think it's bullshit that you want to impeach your man for infidelity, and people was like, "Well, he the president. He's supposed to give a fuck. That ain't no crime." And I was sick to my stomach
Now,
the way people
what he
crucified
did,
Bill.
basically what it was is that people had that feeling of he besmirched, or he brought bad look onto the presidency by doing that in the Oval Office. Okay, cool. By men's standard, he gets a high five. But like but global standard, it's pretty grimy that he did that. But
That's not a crime. When he threw behind his closed doors, because the White House was his closed door.
oh no, the White House is not his. The White House is ours. The White House is
No,
the American
no,
people's. But
no.
he did
Okay,
it in the Oval Office, the People's Oval Office, and he did it right there. And like I said, as a man, I'm sure every man would have been like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, high five." But forgetting just whatever and happening underneath the desk. You know, you already know.
yeah,
So a guy would have been
yeah.
like, "All right, cool." So then, but optics, it looks really bad to other countries, to generalized people. Okay, it looks bad.
Shit, this Trump doing is worse than getting some head in the Oval Office, bro.
Well, I mean, is it though?
Yes, Trump grabbed the woman by her pussy.
No, he didn't. What? No, he did not. He didn't do any of that. See, now you're going on rhetoric right now. No, you didn't actually do that. He said that in a men's locker room, and he didn't even say he was doing it. He used it as an example. You go back and look it up.
I'm
Tell
just saying.
me
Listen, I'm
you
just saying.
haven't fucking
Look,
said some shit that
no,
you
no.
really wish people didn't hear.
Hey,
Because I
listen,
guarantee you have.
listen, listen. I'm being funny right now, but
I
what
know.
I'm saying is the shit that Trump is doing is worse than getting some head in the Oval Office, bro. Like, that's all I'm saying. And he's still the president. It's crazy to me.
So that's a feeling. He's right now. What you're thinking? Are you assuming? Or are you basing that off of the Iran thing, or are you
No,
basing
just
that off of something
everything.
else?
Everything. Like when he was running for president the first when he won, and then when he was running again and he lost to
Did you
Biden,
know?
and
Did you know that they
and now
continuously take polls of his popularity? Even today, they take polls, and he has more approval than his first term 4 years ago. He has more approval now, as of like last week. He has more approval than he did the first time he was president. Look it up. It's true.
man, I beg
Weirdly
to
enough,
differ, man. I,
CNN, who
you
is a
you
Democratic thing, is saying it, which is weird.
you don't talk so much about Trump. You're gonna make me have an episode just talk about Trump. Matter of fact, my one guest I had on here, my boy Joe.
He's done some
He's
crazy
a,
shit, though.
he, my
He
boy
says
Joe
crazy
been
shit.
look. My boy Joe been dying for me to have an episode just solely on Donald Trump. Because one day we was talking and it got heated. He got loud.
What does
I
he say?
got loud. Because
What does he
he's
say?
a Trump supporter. He's a Trump supporter all
Okay,
the
so
way.
I'll give you this. There are a lot of Trump supporters who are fucking nuts, and
Yeah.
they're like they've fanatically he's a celebrity and like he's some sort of god, and I'm like no, God, no, not even close. I'll be like, but they're seeing him like that, and they're thinking he's like some sort of messiah. I'm like, no, not even. Are you kidding me? Like, not even close. So there are people who believe in the president, what he's his ideals are, but then there are people who are in love with him. And those are
Right.
the crazy people. And those are the people we're like, nah, you know what, whatever. But then the same thing on the Democratic Party. There are Democrats who are actually intelligent, who want the right thing. They want to do normal shit and everything. But then you get the crazy Democrats who want to scream at your face and they want to tell you that you're some sort of devil or Nazi because I'm not using, you know, some made up word that they want to call themselves, or it's crazy stuff. So,
Hold
I
on.
mean, yeah.
So one last thing before I get ready to get off of here, man. What was it? Was something? Dang, it just slipped my mind just that quick. That's why I said I be really feeling old sometimes. Like sometimes I could be in the middle of a conversation and I'll be like, what was we talking about? People be looking at me like, what? I swear, man. My bones hurt and everything, man. I'm like, fuck. I look in the mirror. I'm like, do I look old? I'm like, nah. I don't know if I think I still look young, and I don't know if I'm just trying to convince myself. I don't know, but every day I look in the mirror, I'm like, do I look my age? Do I look younger?
Yeah,
Like
well,
I said earlier,
the worst part is that when you're aging is such a slow process, you don't realize you're doing it, and that's the
all right,
horrible part. And then, but you have to base it upon other people's observations of you. But then you have to make sure that they don't see you every day. That's the
that's
only way
true.
it's valid. Because if they see
That's
you every
true.
day, well, then that's it skewed. You know, it's kind of sucks.
Oh,
But
before I
go,
forget again, I
go
just
say it.
remembered. So back to when I was talking about the racism of Donald Trump. This is the thing.
Oh, okay.
What kind of man or what kind of president attacks another person's ethnic background? Now, he did that with Obama. Is he black? Is he this? First of all, what does that have to do with anything? Then he want to see the birth certificate, and then he did it with same thing with Kamala, and he know her name was Kamala, but then he tried to be funny, so some Kamala and all that shit. Yeah, people laughed. They thought it was hilarious. But this thing, he's like, is she not even black? She talk about she try to talk to the black people like she black. And all this shit. What person attacks somebody's ethnic background?
Well, I mean, the one reason why, well, for Kamala, was because she was Indian all the way up to a point, and then all of a sudden she was black, and I'm like,
She
wait,
never said that. She never sit there and claimed like she was Indian. She always said she was a
family
before she was
is from
running.
India. Her
Huh?
family's from India.
And she black.
She ain't black.
Yes, she
She's
is,
as
bro.
she's as black as I am.
Oh my God, here we go. Here we go. We went through this, and he went through this. His racist ass. Hold on.
She only started identifying as black when she started running.
No.
Uh-huh. You look up her parents.
Oh, we will.
You all that. There was a woman, I forgot her name, that did an entire genealogy report on Kamala and then found out that she wasn't black.
Man, that's not true.
And then they found out that apparently the woman that they were propping up as the grandmother wasn't actually the grandmother.
Says she's a black and Asian American woman. What are you talking about?
Black and Asian?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's in Asia? India.
No, but okay. Well, you said she's not black. She's black.
No.
How do you figure? Okay. Obama, is he black?
Sure.
What makes him black and not Kamala?
I would say his heritage, the parents, the all that.
He's not a black parent. What is wrong with you?
You broke up.
I said they both have a black parent. What are you talking about?
Obama, I'm pretty sure, had more black lineage.
I said his mom was white.
Yeah, that's white. His father was black.
His father's black and his mom's white.
Mm-hmm.
He's a black man, just like she's a black woman.
And no.
Yeah.
He was black.
Oh, okay. And you call him black, my point is, so is she. Who the fuck is this?
I don't know. Who is what?
No,
I'm calling you?
No, somebody messaged me and said, "Oh, I liked your podcast. Can we be friends?" What the no? Let me see what picture.
How you like it? We're having it. It's happening now.
No, I think they must have been talking about earlier.
Oh, a different one.
To me, yeah. So I have accepted people that was on the same wavelength, but they ain't inboxed me. It was more like on my wall. They made a comment.
Oh, okay. So they just randomly said it.
Yeah. So and then it's like I don't like when it's like no pictures or it says private. Then I'll be like, nope. Like this one said private. I'm not going to accept it. But you know what I'm saying? Like it don't even have a picture up there, but it says, "Oh, the podcast was dope."
Oh, a lot of times those are like bots.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like even if it's a real person, my thing is this: send a friend request and allow me to either accept it or not. Just say, "Can we be friends?" Like we're gonna be buddy in real life. It's like, come on, you probably not even from Jersey, type of thing. It's the weirdest thing.
No, they're from China.
Oh man, I hate when it's different countries. Like, oh, you're a cool guy. Can meet. Like, where you from? They tell me. I'm like, what state is that? I'm like, what state is that? And they were like this one guy said Ghana. I said, I'm from the United States. What are you talking about? Can we hang out? Like, Ghana's Africa, bro. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Yeah, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. All like TikTok and all this shit, man. TikTok is weird though. Like it's a bunch of weirdos on there. Like I have people that drop me because they inbox me and like, oh, TikTok, how old are you? I'm like, what does it matter? They're like, TikTok is for a follow. I'm like, there's no law saying if you follow me, I gotta follow you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were saying like it's smart to do that. But so I even went as far as and it's weird how people know. They're supposed to meet some nerds or something. It's been a lot of times like I'll follow people. As soon as they follow me, I'll unfollow them. And the next thing I know, my numbers start going down. I'm like, how the fuck they know I dropped them? Like, this is crazy. Because when people drop me, I don't know who it is. Because I ain't going to invest that much time to try to figure out who did it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because they're gone. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. So the people that be like, oh, he dropped me, I'm going to drop them. That's insane. You got that much time on your hands to fucking, that's insane.
Yeah, I don't understand it. That's silly.
But anyways, you know what's crazy? I said 45 to 60 minutes. It was an hour 23. Sometimes that's how conversations get, man. But it is all good. It is almost 11. I am going to probably watch a movie or something. I'm going to try to entertain myself, probably drink some coffee because I like to stay up late.
There haven't been any comments.
Oh yeah, not today yet.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, that's true. But it's late. I don't think we really announced much, was it?
No, I ain't announced anything, and not at all. And plus, on top of that, I think also because I had one like a whole hour before this, so they probably was like again, because I see at one point it was like 5 people that was viewing. Yeah, it was like 5 people, and that was like for the first like 20 minutes, and then it was like 0.
They were like,
It's like, man,
this guy again. Forget it. We're done.
yeah, because when you host it gives in the top left corner, it'll tell you
it
how
sees
many
how many
people
views.
watching.
Yeah.
And then if you put the mouse or the cursor over it, it'll tell you if it's Facebook or if it's YouTube.
Right.
So I think that's
It
pretty
was
dope.
on
But
Facebook.
it was one on Facebook, and then it was like four, like it was never at the same time. The numbers I said the highest I seen was 5. Then it was like 3.
Yeah.
Then it was 2. Then it was 1. Then it go to 4. Shit like that.
Yeah.
But that was like the first like maybe a half hour, and then after that it's been 0. I was like, I've been looking every 2 seconds. Like, damn, for real. But
Yeah,
it is what it
whatever.
is. The thing, maybe my next one, this woman. Never mind. I'll discuss that for you backstage. I don't want to
Yeah.
get somebody offended because I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it was you or somebody I talked to that I've said something. Like when I saw the Diddy thing, two people messaged me and they just dropped me. It's like, lose my number. I think I told you about this, right?
You did tell me. I told you it was divisive, but I was like, I don't know, man. That's celebrity politics. That's rough.
I'm gonna say one thing to you backstage when I end this.
That's fine.
So, anyways, that's gonna conclude today's episode, man. You know, everybody know what to do. Just continue to support. We out of here.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Yes, subscribe. Yeah, they know the spill. Ain't nobody watching anyway. So
I know it's fine.
So all right, let me end this, and then we'll talk backstage real quick.